We have a family enterprise person who uh, goes to work at 7 a.m., works till the evening close at 5, and then when she gets home, she works from 8 to about 11 p.m. And the next generation would ask themselves that, what do I get if I have to do such things? Family enterprise next generation normally don't even get the salary or compensation that they have to, because daddy says he pays your school fees and sometimes they even pay your rent, they pay your utilities. So the salary they give you is just for food. But the next generation is also thinking that, no, I've gone to school, I've had some experience outside the family business. At least I have to be appreciated, I have to be honored for my contribution. The next generation is seeing their contribution as um, valuable as compared to outside. Say they work with a consulting firm, they work with a big multinational corporation. How much are they going to receive? Now, this amount to them equates to the value that it's placed on them. Family enterprises normally would give you, so this is based on the African context, will give you what daddy wants to give you, what mommy wants to give you. And that becomes a trigger. So normally these are the reactions that first the next generation comes in the family business. So they occur when a family member brings up or perceived injustice or emotional baggage from the past. And it is important that families learn how to create and sustain a refocus. So getting the next generation in the family enterprise means that you have to create that refocus in the family enterprise system. And mind you, we are using the word family enterprise and not family business because a family may be in business. It's a two different thing. You have a family who owns a company in transport, they hold a company in agribusiness, they hold a company in hospitality, they have chains of hotels, and some are even having a family office. If they don't have a family office, at least they have massive wealth sitting in a bank, a wealth department of a bank managing for them. Putting everything together becomes the family enterprise system. So this is not the family business, just the family business. If it's a family business, you could just talk of one business. But family enterprise, you are talking about the whole system, the ownership system, the management system, and also the family and everything that makes the family. It could be social emotional wealth, So in all this, you have to maintain a refocus and make sure that the next generation are not punished because they see it as a punishment if you have to pay them low, or in the name that you provided a house for them. But at the same workplace, you are paying huge sums of money to somebody who does not even have their qualification. So we have to be mindful. Let's talk about potholes. Potholes in a family enterprise system for the next generation could be areas where there is lack of awareness, training around governance protocols, or the inability to follow them. Now, it's a great pothole if you assume that you stayed with your son, you stayed with your daughter, so he or she should have the ability to do an assignment in a business. It's a big portal. You have to bring them up in skill. You have to train them, make sure that they are competent enough and I recommend, strongly recommend that you add competence to the values of the family and values of the business. Because if just the fact that, oh, he's my son, he's been following me everywhere, has not been tested, has not been brought up in character to that level where he'll be able to manage, then that becomes a very great portal and it becomes very difficult for them. It's a portal because when you're driving around town and you hit your car in a portal, you see how the feeling is. Sometimes it breaks your shocks. I have had that experience where my tire passengers passed and I veered off the road. So potholes are very dangerous, and it's a pothole in the family enterprise system when the next generation don't have that ability for the assignments that you have given them. So you have to give them the fundamentals, and fundamentals, not just the hard skills, but also the social skills, making sure that they think right, they do things in the right way, they have the right network, they are building the right network, um, they have that system, that support system as a person at their level. So if you're not careful, the first generation will do everything for the next generation, but it gets to a point they have to be independent enough. Independence does not mean that they're moving from home, but independence means that giving them that chance to also risk. We are talking about measurable risk here. It could be anything that you can help them control, coach them, but if they don't have that record for themselves and that joy that they encountered a problem and they solved it themselves, then it becomes very hard for them to be able to uh, do an assignment or carry out an assignment that you have given to them. So training, we are talking about the soft skills and the hard skills. You cannot give leadership to a family business next generation if they don't understand the numbers. It's serious in a business. They have to understand numbers. They have to understand how the business makes money. They have to understand how to apportion resources to the size of the business that gives value. They have to be able to be clear with the vision, the mission. They have to get that knack for business. They have to build business acumen skills. These are the hard skills that they have to build. In terms of soft skills, you are looking at relationships, building a proper social capital, they being aware of the social emotional wealth of the business. When I say social emotional wealth, I'm talking of when the name of the family is mentioned, the name of the family is mentioned. So for example, in Africa, so this is purely an African discussion. So especially in Nigeria, they say, who is your father? Where do you come from? And when you mention some names in Nigeria, and even in Ghana, there are some names you mentioned it is attributed to certain qualities. So that name, social emotional wealth, they understanding that they cannot dampen that name. They have to make sure their lifestyle is respecting that name also. These are some of the competencies that you build in the next generation. And you have to really help them to that level. Uh, when they come outside, from outside the family business and enter the family business, sometimes you really have to block that portal by giving them a training to bring them on in the business. So this would include fundamentals of good governance. And I mentioned some soft skills. So we're talking about communication, problem solving, and decision-making processes. Education is needed to learn how to avoid portals. So portals are prevented mainly with education, with bringing up, with training. You don't leave the next generation to grow on their own. You help them, you coach them. That doesn't also mean you live their lives for them. It's two different things. In the name of love, in the name of caring for the next generation, you could be doing overly responsibility and you'll be over responsible. It gets to a point they have to face life by themselves, solve some problems as a person. What you need to do is to be a coach. You don't take their life from them and live for them. It becomes a difficult situation for the next generation. Interestingly, these factors prevent the next generation from coming into the family business because they will think that, oh, daddy is too domineering, mommy is too domineering, you know. And as a way of advice also to the next generation, it also means you have to be mindful to when you face challenges, try as a person to accept that challenges are part of life and is good for your health in terms of everything, in terms of leadership, in terms of being a family business, a successful family business next generation. It is good you go through the challenges. Do not shun them, do not run away, but face them because it will help you block some portals. Now, let's talk about roadblocks. And when there is no commitment and lack of ability, incompetence, or lack of accountability with the governance system, and it gets to a point the next generation have to be accountable. They have to be accountable. They have to show commitment to the business. It becomes a difficult situation for family enterprises when the next generation is not really, really involved. They sit somewhere, and just because daddy does it smoothly, mommy does it smoothly, uncle does it smoothly, auntie does it smoothly, they think it's smooth. It's not smooth like they think. So it's a roadblock if that commitment is not there, when that ability is not there. And situations would include a lack of trust, insincerity, unfairness, or deliberate resistance to an imposed structure. So mainly inability, mainly they don't appreciate that there is a process, there is that work that goes into even the benefits that they get, the millions and the cash and the money that they receive. They don't attribute commitment, hard work, and structure, some form of fortitude to get that. They don't attribute it to that. So it becomes a problem. And these are some factors that hinders the involvement of family enterprise next generation. Let's go to the next slide. So the foundation of trust. So when we started, I mentioned that it becomes a difficult situation when there's lack of communication, and lack of communication will surely affect all the things that we mentioned. It will affect the relationships. It affects the smooth communication amongst the first generation, second, third generation. It affects that intergenerational discussion and communication. So when you see the pyramid, you see that lack of trust is the basis for every poor results you see in a family business. So when we are talking about the next generation not being involved, then we are talking about a lack of trust. A lack of trust is fed into by fear of conflict. And it is very important we appreciate conflict. You raise a weakness generation when you avoid conflict in the house or in the business. Even in a boardroom, there have to be tension sometimes. There should be that point, that nodal event that causes a change. We have to get to a point where you agree to disagree. The next generation says no. First generation says yes. And then there are explanations as to why, and as they do so, that is business acumen being built. That is negotiation skills in the next generation, trying to disagree on the